just got off the phone with my dad, and I told you yesterday's thing didn't come out till this morning. Processing problems, you know. But I told you my dad would be proud, because I was sitting there. I lit up with that Zippo that he gave Michelle, and she doesn't even smoke, so I assume he was giving it to me. I thought he'd be mad if he found out. Remember, forget Newport. Go Merritt. Detroit News, sponsored by... compliments of the Detroit News. So he gave that to her. And then he gave me the Skull, what do you call it? Contemporary custom edition knife. It's an old timer. He gave that to me. And I was using them, and I was cutting open a pack of cigarettes, this one, and it was just clean along the way, you know, and cut it open, you know. I just sat there and I cut it open, and I'm still smoking its guts. Look at that. But I said he'd be proud that I was using it. And I told you my dad didn't have a phone because they cut his landline, and he took the cell phone back. He said, I'm not having this crap. Made him do it. He tried it for a couple of days. That was enough. So he called me today, just now. Strange number coming. I'm like, I don't know if I answer this, so I speak in Chinese right to the start and then see who's there. And if there's somebody I don't know and they're trying to sell me something, I keep going in Chinese. Ni wei? You say wei? It's like, hey, you know, ni shi xie? Who are you? 为什么你给我打电话? Why are you calling me? And then if they still keep talking, you say, 我不知道你, I don't know you. And you say, 滚开, get out of here. You say, 滚jibadan, which is a very dark way of saying, get out of here. It's even meaner. Get the fuck out of here. That's about the way you translate it, I suppose. So he called, and I told him, I said, yeah, I thought about calling you today to tell you that I love you. I said, but then I remembered you didn't have a phone. Wow, that was a close one. And he laughed. He thinks that's funny. But then he says, you fill that lighter with fluid yet? And I'm like, Jesus, man, see that? He wanted to know if I was using it. I said it would take a 12-ounce Zippo can to fill that thing with fluid. And that's like a beer. So I'll just do it as I need it. I got another. You know, you could say it's all for show, and it is. What a great game. But, so as it turns out, when I said he'd be proud of me using that knife and the Zippo, and I went on to tell him about the cigarettes too, and he said he'd be proud of me. It turns out he really wants me to use it, and I'm sure that makes him very happy. See, I gave him a pitchfork for Father's Day, or his birthday. It was one or the other. Those are close. When I was like 16, 17, and he doesn't use anything that anybody ever gave him as a gift. It's all sitting right in the box. But that thing he's used from the very beginning, and I've heard the story for years. When we see the pitchfork sitting over there, when I'm there in the garage smoking with him, and he always tells, he says, that pitchfork, every time I use that pitchfork, I think that's the one Judas gave me. He remembers, you know. So I was able to give him something. That's a big deal. That he appreciates. It's a big deal. It's hard to please that man. What do you give a man who doesn't want anything? And now he's returned the favor. I've returned the favor to him. I do appreciate that. I do use it. And I'm going to tell him every time I use it. I might call him after the show. But the phones, we were telling stories. We got around to talking about me calling from China. And he tried to say, you call here long distance calls. And I said, wait, stop right there. He said, we'd call you on your phone. I said, I didn't have a phone. I'd go to the damn by-the-minute phone shops they've got all over the place. And when you're making good Chinese money, you make long calls. And I was paying. So, and we got into that. And he seemed to believe it. Forgot about the fact, I forgot to bring it up to him. One of those calls I made to him, that, I think, it would have been 2004, because I was there through over the New Year. He's sitting there, and he's talking to me. I'm in China, he's in Gaylord, and he's talking. He says, "Whoa, they closed plywood down." And that was where he said they shut the doors and nobody knew what was happening. And he says, your second brother's out of a job. And I said, because my second brother was foreman at this place, supervisor. He actually held the presidency of the union while he was there before he moved up to being supervisor, where you can't be part of it anymore. And very driven man, that guy. He wants what he wants, and if you give him something he doesn't want, you owe him an apology, and he may never talk to you again. But he said he's out of a job, and I said, well, I said, now I don't look so bad anymore after all, do I? Oh, I said, no, I was trying to remember how it went. I said, well, he's not, geez, it flashed through my mind. I said, he's not doing any better than me after all, is he? And my dad says, no, I guess not. And I was like, I didn't expect that response from him. I'm talking slow. So then we got on to my second brother and me in phone calls. And he said, you're old. That's what it was. I remember what got to it. But I used this as an example so my dad would understand the main story that I was getting to. Thank you for reminding me. But I said, like that time when he was calling the, what do you call it? When PBS has their little fund drives, you know, and they'd have all the people in front, and you could see the phones ringing and volunteers answering them and taking money. And look at all these beautiful people, and the phones are ringing, and you see people talking. And my mom and dad were at bingo, and my second brother and I were there alone. You know, he was watching me. Good upbringing. Good example to follow. So he decided, and I said, yeah, at that time, and my dad's like, yeah, that was you and him. Him and you. I said, well, I guess I didn't get away with that one. But Yeah, my, my second brother, he decided we were going to call into the toll-free lines, and we were going to say stuff because you could see people. It was like the internet before the internet. You were having social interaction with video. And so he'd call and he'd say something, and you'd see the phone start ringing, the person just sitting there, and the phone would ring, and they'd look at the phone, you could hear it ringing over there, and he's on it there, and it's like, and they'd pick up the phone, thank you for calling, and he'd go, and you'd see him go, and it was so entertaining. It was just like, wow, I feel like a god. And teleportation, soul, you're getting right inside them and fucking tearing things up. They're not used to this. And so he'd give it to me and he'd tell me what to do. And then he'd take one, and we're sitting there, and then he gave me the phone, dialed it, and we're sitting there watching. It was a lot of fun. It was almost endless entertainment. And the phone starts ringing. He told me what I was supposed to say. And the phone it's ringing and it's answered. And on the other end, it's not the, hey, thank you for calling. It's Alpena Sheriff's Department. And he couldn't hear what's going on because we're on a regular old corded phone to the wall. You don't have speaker. And he said, Alpena Sheriff's Department. And I went, I was like, oh no. And he's standing there, my second brother, and he's sad. And I said, I was 10 years old. I said, do you sell rubbers? And I said, and hung it up. He said, what the hell is that? Because nothing was happening on the TV. And yeah, so we stopped. It's like they linked us into the department. We stopped, but then we got found out because next month's phone bill, they charged us for all those calls on the thing. My dad was like, what the hell? And so we're just talking. Oh, look at that. This is the first one of those cigarettes that I got out of the packet that had suffered an injury from me cutting open the pack with my dad's skull knife. Just got the butt a little bit of cotton sticking out. And we're talking about my second brother, we're talking about cell phones and things, and he gets going and he's talking about how this is why global warming is happening. The ice caps are melting because of all the cell phones. He's saying it's magnetic frequencies cruising out, and then you go, nah, it's just because we're using more energy because we're charging them all the time. I said, you got an idea there, but I think it's because all the coal that's being burned and emissions, carbon emissions and all this stuff, because everybody is constantly using electricity. I'm not complaining about it, but I'm saying that to him, and then they come out with the G5 thing, and then I guess they're saying that that's actually happening, and I'm like, this fucking guy's crazy, but and he's on a rant, and he starts, and he says, do you know how many politicians, and he paused, and I said, oh. In my head, I heard, how many politicians does it take? And he says, do you know how many politicians? And he paused, and I said, does it take to screw in a light bulb? And and he said, I meant to say electricians. He was talking about electricians. And I just went, wow, I just came up with a joke. And I said to him, how many politicians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just one. The last one changed the whole country in just 4 years. I said, there's a joke. How many politicians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just one. The last one screwed up the whole country in just 4 years. Changed. Oh, changed. I fucked it up. How many politicians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Just one. The last one changed the whole country in just 4 years. That's what it was. And so there. And then he said, I meant to say electrician. That's it. That's as far as I was going to go. How many does it take? Just one. It's amazing they spend the money to keep so many more of them around. You'd think if they got rid of a few of them, we could save money on taxation.